The snap, the put down, the swing of the leg. It is on its way. It is good! Cincinnati wins the American Championship.
Here comes the quarterback, Burrow, looking for a block, and he got it up in the front by Hopkins into the end zone. Touchdown! What a skip!
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Welcome back. It's another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. We got the best producer in the city, Ed Mayhall. We got our other co-host, Jeff Howell, and we have special guests tonight with live in-game commenting as the game goes on. We have Ryan Castellanos, maybe the better half of the Castellanos.
Definitely the funnier half. You'd probably enjoy talking with me more. Nick will ask you a ton of questions just about your personal life, but he's awesome. I'm just messing around. But I'm definitely a little more kind of like free spirit. Let's talk about whatever you guys want. So,
well, thank you for joining us and welcome to the show. We do appreciate it, especially as the game's going. I know that isn't always the easiest thing to do.
Well, Nick just struck out, so I don't want to look at the game right now.
So I did want to talk about Nick, obviously, but maybe a story that people don't know about. You played baseball yourself, coming up in the Detroit Tigers organization as well. You were drafted by the Tigers back in 2015, coming out of University of Illinois, and then even prior to that, out of Hialeah.
Well, actually drafted. I was in a Division II, Nova Southeastern University. I spent 2 years there. 2 years at University of Illinois as a starter. Our rotation was sick my junior year. We had two future first round picks coming in, and they were kind of talking about moving me to the bullpen long relief role. I'm basically like the righty version of Wade Miley. So I'm throwing 86, 89, topping out 91, throwing a ton of strikes. And there's no way I was going to be able to get drafted showcasing my ability through the bullpen. So made the transfer, had a really good year over there, and then was selected by the Tigers. I was drafted by the White Sox coming out of high school, but turned that down because that was a later pick.
Sure.
So decided to go to college instead, which was great. I met my girlfriend there, and she's awesome. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Happy endings for everyone.
That's right.
So take me through what it was like to be in the Tigers organization, because, from the 40,000-foot view, the Tigers organization is not good. I mean, that's, again, just an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
So,
well, when I first got there, I got there in 2015, so that was kind of at the tail end of when they had, all the studs up there, in the big leagues, and obviously, their minor league system was a little bit depleted when I first got there, but I mean, they had a ton of pitching studs coming in through my class. I played with Matt Manning, Bo Burrows, Kyle Funkhauser, all just really good players. I'm not really too sure how they're doing right now, but they were fortifying the system, kind of getting ready for the rebuild as I was kind of on my way out. 2017 was my last year with them. You guys say not very good, but still bunch of great players there. They're all professionals and
sure.
Still amongst the best in the world. So,
and you made it. I mean, that's something not a lot of people get to say.
Yeah.
Well, period.
To be honest with you guys, it's not like I had kind of the regular minor league experience. I mean, of course, the pay wasn't very good. I mean, we were making $1,200, $1,300 a month, which is not very much at all.
No.
The experience was great, but obviously everybody, being Nick's brother and Nick being on the team, and I was there when Ben was there too, Ben Verlander. So
yeah.
Not that we got special treatment, but, we were kind of camp bodies in a way. We didn't have the huge signing bonuses. We weren't there throwing I was around, 17, 18-year-old, Dominicans and Venezuelans throwing 97 and not knowing where it's going. So it's just a lot of different players at a lot of different, talent levels, but an amazing experience. I would call the minor leagues college ball without, having to go to class. So it's a lot
And
of
wooden
fun.
bats.
Wooden bat. Well, I was a pitcher, so and it was easier on me because it's a lot harder to hit with wood. So my inside fastballs were a little more effective.
Yeah.
So you bring up you were a pitcher, and we got to ask: has everything crazy going on with baseball this season with the foreign substances on balls? What are your takeaways with all of this? Like, do you think the MLB is taking it a little too far? Do you think that maybe the crackdown should have happened long ago, and that way you're not going through all this? Should you not be doing this mid-season? What are your thoughts on the way that MLB is handling any of this?
So just to preface this, as far as like a personal experience with it, I completely missed the train on the foreign substances. I saw bullfrog and rosin a lot. I didn't like any of that on me. I guess I was in the minority, but I was always licking my fingers. You guys still get me? It looked like audio cut out.
No, that's just Aaron muting himself.
All right, come on, Aaron.
Clear my throat.
Yeah, I mean, because I was always there, licking my fingers. If I'm using the rosin, it was to dry up my sweat. If I had known that sticky stuff would have, made my breaking ball a little bit better, probably would have used it, especially if I knew that everybody else was using it and whatnot. As far as what they're doing, I mean, you got to do something. I mean, because Bauer's been saying it for years, and then they basically ignored him. And then he went out. He was like, okay, like, watch this. Goes out and wins a Cy Young. He's basically showing them that this is a problem. And then when, they confront him about it, he's saying that, he just wants to have like an even playing field. So I'm happy that they're doing it. As a fan and as a former pitcher, I mean, you see how Max Scherzer reacted. I don't know if you need to have them act like TSA agents, the umpires. I mean, that's it's a little ridiculous to watch. And it's also kind of ridiculous that this is all going in the middle of the season. I mean, I don't have, all the inside information. I don't sit down and have Nick tell me everything that he knows and all that and whatnot. Right. But, when you hear somebody like, Tyler Glasnow say that the lack of, grip really changed how, he had to grab the ball. And when you first read that and you first hear him say that, of course you want to be like, you're just making excuses and whatnot. But coming from somebody who, less is more in terms of tension. If you're gripping the ball really hard, you're going to be, transferring tension into your elbow. And those are really things that could cause injuries. So, if he did get injured because of that, you could argue it was because of, baseball going 180 on deciding to crack down right now. But at the same time, you can't have pitchers continue to do this. I mean, they're kind of, they're changing the balls every year. They're livening the ball. They're deadening the ball. And then, RPMs are jumping up 800, 900 completely unnaturally. And it's kind of baseball's fault that they got, to this level. I mean, if I don't have the perfect solution, but I mean, if they were like, okay, obviously you guys need some grip. The hitters are okay with grip if it means you're not going to hit them in the face, but the hitters won't be okay with grip if it means you're going to be throwing balls that, don't follow the laws of physics. Maybe make a universal substance that's not going to, increase your RPMs, but can give you some grip. Put it right there on the mound, and, you have to watch everybody kind of has to watch you apply it. Not saying that that's what you have to do, but TSA agents in the middle of the baseball game.
So going along with the whole, basically like TSA agents, you've got Hector Santiago from the Mariners. They stop him. The umpires determine that something is amiss. They take his glove. They give it over to Major League Baseball. They eject him. He's suspended 10 games. Okay, it's in a garbage bag.
It's like evidence. Like
he gets suspended. And then when he goes to say, well, what did you find on the glove? Because I'm saying I didn't have anything. And they're like, well, we're not going to test it. Whatever the umpire said, the umpire is going to decide that, that was a little too sticky, and he didn't think it was just rosin and sweat. So you're going, and you've got the umpires now that can't even call a ball and a strike the right way. So,
I mean, it sounds like maybe Major League Baseball is trying to show off that they're, doing the right thing without, taking off one of their biggest stars. I mean, we all know who the biggest offenders are.
Yeah.
We've seen, people will blatantly say it in the interview, when they ask them about it. I mean, there's other players who I won't name names who just, kind of fumble when they ask them and just have ridiculous answers. And
When they started,
I just
when
think
they
it's
started pulling the position players out, like who was it? The position player that pitched like what three pitches, and then they went and checked him. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like the first few were hilarious, but now this guy just came from left field or wherever,
and now MLB is kind of opening up this whole other gamesmanship where, dude, Girardi's sending out them to look at it because he rubbed his his hand in his hair, and obviously he's doing that, trying to get him in his head or get him off his game,
it's like icing the kicker. Yeah,
it's kind of like what the Cardinals did hitting Nick, trying to get him off his game 2.
yeah, that didn't work
Shots
out
fired.
too
Yeah.
So you brought it up, and I was going to get there eventually, but let's do it right now. You've been a little vocal going at, St. Louis and Chicago here of late. Obviously, we had, the series against Chicago where we did sweep them.
Mm-hmm.
But you want all the smoke, right? Like, you're not afraid to go at any fan base.
Well, I play with the Chicago Cubs fan base. I mean, it's no secret. I love Chicago. My girlfriend's from Chicago. I spent a ton of time there, even before, Nick, went and played there. And my love for Chicago really has nothing to do with the Cubs organization. I mean, because I actively root against the Cubs, but I have a lot of respect for the Cubs fan base. I mean, I don't know if that's blasphemy to say. But while we were there, I mean, they were obviously Nick hit really well, but just, and I'm experiencing it right now, obviously here with Cincinnati, because you guys both have extremely passionate fan bases. And that's something that as a baseball fan or as a player, that's kind of the reason to play, right? I mean, just to go out there and, just give it all for the fans who care the most. And you hear Nick talk about it all the time. And I think that really stems from the time he spent in Detroit, where he was really trying to, figure himself out as a player and trying to see what worked for him. But he couldn't focus on winning because nobody there was expecting to win. So it basically becomes showing up and just trying to, put up stats. And who likes to play baseball like that?
Sure.
Right. Now, was this weekend when you because you were in town for the Cubs series, right?
Yes.
You came with that. So is that the first time you've been to Great American Ballpark?
Second time I was there opening day when it
Okay.
snowed.
Nice.
Where he took Flaherty deep and did a little skip my Lou half the way down first base line. I love that. Love that. And then I was there the second game. I was there the game where he posterized
Woodruff.
Woodruff. I just know him as a pitcher on the ground. I don't really know what his name is.
Right. So then you were there for the Cubs series.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that when I got married, when I started dating my wife, like we're huge Cincinnati sports fans and whatnot. Anyway, we had season tickets in the bleachers until we had kids and whatnot. That is the loudest that stadium has been outside of the All-Star game weekend when Todd Frazier won the home run derby.
I go ahead.
What?
I don't mean to cut you.
Oh, no, you're fine. But that's the loudest it's been since the 2012 NLDS when they lost to the Giants. That was a great series for you to get a true baptism of what Cincinnati sports like, what the Reds fan base is all about, like in person.
I mean, even without that, you can really feel it, man. Like you really can, because like this city just feels like they're just so hungry for a winner. And you could tell that anytime, that the Reds team is kind of showing that, hey, maybe, this team is good enough, or maybe we're like a piece or two away. They want to win. Like, maybe if you're 15 games under 500, maybe they won't show up to the field, but that place is rocking, and those fans really, really care. I mean, the Reds are one of the most storied franchises in all of MLB. The first MLB team. They have obviously had the big red machine, and Nick's talked a lot about that. Gotten to know about just the history of the city and the fan base and everything. Great baseball town, and that's really all Nick looks for. Is he just wants to be in a place that obviously wants him there, respects him for who he is, likes him for the person that he is, and just enjoys watching him play, and just a fan base that he wants to go out and play for. I'm not going to name any cities or anything like that, but he's like pointed out like certain cities where he's like, yeah, I wouldn't really want to go there because I don't really think I like their fans. I feel like their fans are just, angry people, or just people that you don't really want to play for. Those are the kind of things that, Nick really thinks about. And obviously being from, South Florida, and nobody ever really talks about, oh, let's go to the Marlins. And I'm not saying Nick is going to go to the Marlins, but he, just if to play for South Florida, for the team that we kind of grew up playing for. Obviously, their situation is they're not trying to win now, so that's just kind of like an afterthought. But he would bring that up as kind of like, yeah, that would be something that I would really love doing, because it's really what brings the best out of you as a player. Because
Sure.
he doesn't want to be in a spot where he's there for however long, and then he just he loses that spark, that will to win. Because you guys see the difference, when he's out there competing, feeling like there's pressure on him to win, that there's everybody's counting on him to win, and everybody's picking each other up. I'll go back to when they intentionally walked Nick, and then Stevenson came up and hit that line drive. As a rookie, that's awesome. Like, that is amazing. And I think Votto went up to him before that, and said, you need to take that personally when they do that. So it happened later that game, and he went up and ripped a shot. And that's the stuff that, as a fan, I mean, I would have rather Nick hit a walk-off home run, but those are the kind of things that basically show that the team is really understanding what's needed, whose job it is to do what. And I talk about it all the time. I mean, these rookies on this team are really impressive. Very, very impressive.
And you brought up, how the city's embraced Nick since he's been here. Obviously, his spray chart's all over the place. He's doing fantastic in Great American Ballpark, which is what a hitter should be able to do. But the city's also embraced you, as your personality has started to come alive on social media. Your mom, the city's embraced her as well. So I got to ask, is there a life-size bobblehead of Ryan Castellanos coming your mom's way at some point in time to go, next to her collection with Nick's life-size bobblehead?
If there's a company that you know of that does that does bobbleheads for low level minor league players, and you can let me know. We actually did very, very long ago, when he the first couple of years with Detroit. He was still 22 or 23 or something like that. We did one of those like MLB fan caves, and they give us like these little bobbleheads, but it's not the same.
I mean, nothing like a 4-foot monster Nick.
No, you got to be. I mean, you got to be really important for that to happen. So.
Fair enough. So, how was your time though, as a family, in Detroit and in Chicago before you get here? How does it kind of compare to what you've alluded to, the Cincinnati experience has been like for everybody?
Well, to go with the Detroit experience, I mean, that was kind of its own thing, because my mom is actually from Detroit. Her whole side of the family's from Detroit. We spent a ton of time in Michigan growing up. We'd go camping there every summer. My grandparents are from there. Cousins are from there. So when he was drafted by Detroit, I mean, we had just, a dozen families, family members from Michigan here watching it. And they've been diehard Tigers fans since, for as long as they can, even know what baseball is. So playing there was what really was awesome because it kind of, even though they weren't doing very good for the majority of the time, and he himself had some pretty good seasons, but I mean, playing with the family was great, but losing was not, and it kind of got tired of after a while. And then that trade to Chicago, I mean, Nick's kind of said it before. Literally to him, it felt like finally getting your head above water. You could finally breathe again. Where all of a sudden he was in a packed stadium where it doesn't matter what the score is, the fans are going to be there the whole game. You're hitting in front of a former MVP Chris Bryant. You got a bunch of established players there and people who are there, expecting to win. And if they don't win, it's almost a personal kind of like, we didn't do our job today, as opposed to where, if you hit a home run that day, but you lose by 5 runs and you're 30 games out of first place, you're just kind of happy you hit a home run that day.
Sure.
So that change was breath of fresh air for him. And then as far as my experience with it, it was ravenous. I mean, when kind of like the Cubs fans kind of all started when, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Cubs Twitter put me on blast because Nick posted something about me messing up Tom Hanks versus Bill Murray, and I guess Bill Murray is kind of a Chicago icon. So the Cubs Twitter posted that, and then everybody's I went from about 900 followers of like, my friends from home and, like just people that I met throughout college where I could talk about just a variety of whatever. Nobody really cared about what I said, but all of a sudden I had 2,800 people following me, and anything I tweeted, no matter what, it was just baseball this, baseball that, baseball fan. So it's like, okay, well, this is now a baseball Twitter. So this is where we can talk about baseball. And it just kind of went from there. But I mean, I love kind of fan interaction. I mean, I like when passionate fans come up to me, and whether they're talking to me about me or personal things with me, or whether they're just talking about Nick, I love that, and I love interacting with fans because it makes it feel like they would then be more of a fan with Nick because they kind of feel like that personal connection. So I would always try my best to just go out on Twitter and just get everybody to kind of be excited about us and, us being there. And even with, Cincinnati, I got to know kind of like Cincinnati, baseball Twitter, and a lot of them reached out to me, and it's pretty much the same thing, man. You guys are nuts too. It's awesome.
So when you were at the game this weekend, you sat down, you were like down in with the fans, right? Like you weren't up in a suite or anything. You were down.
I mean, when it was snowing, I was in a suite.
Yeah. Well, that's smart. That's just smart.
I prefer to be surrounded by the masses so I can yell and just kind of.
So is that where the shot train started?
No, that was post game at the bar.
Did you go right across the street, the Holy Grail? Is that where you went?
I went to Tin Roof and Stretch.
Okay.
I believe. I spoke with I don't know. You guys know who Brandon Soho is?
Yeah. Seho.
Seho. Okay.
Mhm.
Seho. Yeah. Sorry, Brandon. Cool guy. Awesome guy. But he was just kind of saying like, oh well, this is where you should go here, this and there. And I was like, okay, let's go check it out. He said that a bunch of fans go there and they get ravenous. But the best part about that is that when I went there and I was there with my girlfriend and one of my other friends, and they'll always mess with me all the time, like, oh, everybody knows who you are because of Twitter, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. But I'll sit down at the bar and I'll have people yell like Ryan, and I'm just okay, yeah, come over here, and then it's awesome, man. Like just groups of fans, everybody talking to me, and it's really just a fun experience. Cincinnati has definitely left a good impression on me.
Did anybody Venmo you a couple bucks for some Advil the next day, or?
I had people offer, but it's okay. We did have some Advil there at the house, so it was definitely needed. It was definitely needed. I mean, maybe 5 years ago it wasn't, but
right.
Yeah.
So to kind of put it in perspective for you, as people who have been Reds fans their whole lives, this team is one of the most fun teams to watch for so many reasons. Largely your brother and the passion that he shows, Winker and the emotion that he shows, because that dude at the drop of a dime will cry about anything and everything, and I'm here for all of it. I love it as a crier myself, so I'm totally fine with it. And to kind of see some of the struggles of like guys that you've always rooted for in Suarez, in Castillo, and to see some of the young guns come up and opportunities that the Reds normally, traditionally, don't actually give to guys like Stevenson, to guys like India. So we have so many reasons to root for this team. So we're like just in the thick of all this. But you, as a fan of the game, what's it been like for you experiencing it with A, a family member on the team, and B, like we know what it feels like after going through so many years of just different teams just kind of thrown together, but this is something that feels different.
I think the biggest thing about it is, I mean, when Nick was in Detroit, he was there with a bunch of established veterans, who already had their careers set and whatnot, and it was basically just like shut up and go around about your business. I mean, in Chicago, everybody there, a lot of them are already there established. They just had their World Series. But then you go to a team like the Reds, who has a ton of talent. I mean, they have really good starting pitching. Obviously their bullpen, issues have been well documented. But what's interesting about that is the time when Antone went down is really when you kind of saw, a lot of people step up. And now, even though, maybe everybody would say, yeah, maybe we could use a piece or two, but the guys that have been there that people have been, kind of like bashing on, they've been producing, they've been doing pretty well. And obviously the Reds can hit, and they're doing it without Moustakas, and who is, one of their higher paid players. Hopefully he can get back. And they're also doing it without, Suarez, another one of their higher paid players. Not without him, but, just also with
Sells himself. Yeah.
And, dude, I mean, Winker can swing the bat. He's got such a beautiful swing. It's like Jonathan India is just a well all around player. I mean, one thing that I've been really impressed with, obviously when he first came up and he was kind of, first couple weeks he was hot. People were still learning him, but then you saw him, kind of lose some time with Senzel and whatnot. Everybody kind of goes through like that week or two period. But then when he came back, he started walking. And as soon as they put him in the leadoff role, he basically became the leadoff hitter that they've always needed. And when I kind of saw that, I said on Twitter that out of nowhere, he's the spark plug that they've been kind of looking for what feels like years. Because I feel like last year, they were messing around with, I think Shogo was there for a little bit, and who else was leading off a little bit? Yeah, and
the Reds have had a storied issue with with having an established leadoff hitter. It seems like for a very long time here, it's been just like, well, you've been hitting pretty well. Let's move you up there, and like just whoever. And so to see somebody like India, like the comments you're making with him, it's like you've got a guy that's just like, he's just getting on base. He's just finding ways to get on base, whether it's walking, getting a hit, getting hit. I mean, it seems like he's getting hit every
home run.
Or hitting a home run.
Or hitting a home run, yeah.
I mean, I think the last guy, maybe Shin-Soo Choo, maybe was like the last guy. I mean, he got on a lot by getting hit.
What was that, like 2015?
Yeah. Maybe just before that, but yeah, about that time, he was here for his cup of tea with the Reds.
I mean, because when you watch Senzel play, I mean, you can see that he has those qualities that you would look for in a player like that. I mean, he's got a good bat. He's got, sneaky good pop. He's very quick. He can play in a lot of different positions. So, when you were to be on the outside looking in, you would assume that he would kind of be that guy, especially with India being the rookie. But and this isn't to take anything away from Senzel, because I'm sure, he's definitely going to help the team when he comes back. I mean, his versatility is, almost, you can't replace that. But India's, I just can't say how good he looks out there. I mean, it's not just that, he's a good bat and he plays, pretty good defense. It's his presence. He's up there in the box, and and it looks like he's expecting himself to do well, and and Stevenson is just so calm, and that's not what rookies look like. It's really not. Like, it's not what they're supposed to look like. And then, I'm thinking, okay, we're just getting blessed with these. And then I see Gutierrez come in and just eat out innings, man. It's just, and then and Santion. I mean, I think he had like one poor outing, but dude, he's 24. I mean, he's built like a horse, man. You know that he's gonna be around, and he's probably gonna, knock on wood, but that's the body type that's gonna give you innings and innings every year. And he's a competitor, I mean, Nick said it as well when he was talking about his outing, with people on base. He doesn't shy away from, what he wants to do. He doesn't change it's all about rhythm. And if the other team can smell you kind of giving in, that's when it kind of implodes. And the rookies do a very good job of keeping their composure.
I mean, they've all really been able to come up and like kind of feel that like next man up kind of like mentality of, because let's be honest, with all the injuries that have happened, like this season really could have like gone a very bad direction very quick, and we could like we could be looking at fighting the Pirates in the bottom of the division right now, and instead you've had guys that are just like they're doing what they have to do. They're doing their job and they're having a blast doing it. And it's so relieving. It's so much fun. And like
refreshing.
I tend to jump on. They say that I get kind of pessimistic kind of quick, and it happens. And I'll tweet things out, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't tweet that. Like, oh, I'm gonna delete that one. But like, I love to see these guys having so much fun playing and having success. And it's like they just beat off of each other to the point where it's like, let's see what they're gonna do tonight. Like, and they never feel like they're out of a game, and that's like the best part. Like, you never see any of them like hanging their heads or like, oh well, we're down 3 or 4 runs, like it's over. Like, let's just pack this one in. They're all out there, playing. They look little hungry. Kids in a sandlot, and it's awesome.
You can tell that it's a roster full of hungry players. And I mean, obviously, Nick is one of the higher paid players on that team, but he's arguably just as hungry as all the rookies. He's out there to prove something every game. He's hustling his butt off every ground ball. I mean, if you're a rookie there and you're seeing the guy who, could quote unquote, pack it in and say, this is all good, busting his butt down. If you're a rookie there making big league minimum, if you put a ball in play and you don't bust your ass down, you're going to get an earful when you walk back into the dugout. And it's, I mean, people say that, oh, like you Reds fans are just all hung up on game 2 and that was your World Series. But that was really the tone setter of Nick, going into home plate and all that. That really set the tone of the season. And when his exit interview for that game, he's like, look, man, I'm here to win. Like, I don't want to start 0-2. I've lost my whole career. I am here to win. I'm not here to put up numbers. The numbers will come. I'm not here to get paid. I am here to win, because he has spent his whole, big league career, putting up numbers. Yeah, but not winning. I mean, he's 0 for 5 in the playoffs. He's played 5 playoff games, and he's been one of the better players in the league, I think, for the last, 4 or 5 years. And that's just what he wants, man. He wants to win. And when you have your kind of like your main guys on the team, Winker and Votto now showing all this energy, and Nick obviously, starting the tone, and then it just kind of gets the train going where all the rookies who are coming in wide-eyed, just like, all right, how should I, be? Show me how to be. They're just showing them that you come here, you bust your butt, and we expect to win. We're going to have fun doing it. And, even when the Reds were, 5-6 games under 500, you kept hearing out like, oh, well, we have a great clubhouse. We have a great clubhouse. Everybody here plays for each other. But, fans don't want to hear that when you're not winning. But that's actually something that will keep the team together, because they think that they're a good team. They believe that they should win. So when they don't win, they kind of take it personal, and they feel like they're coming up short because they believe they're good enough.
So I don't want to I don't really want to ask you to speak for Nick, but what do you think it means? Like, how do you think he feels to? I know we heard Winker's interview the other day about how he felt, having a teammate go to the All-Star game with him and be starters together about it, and cried because that's what Winker does. But, how do you think Nick feels, on that same path with, going with Winker? And
Don't believe Nick in his interviews, you guys. He's it just hasn't all hit him yet, because he's so kind of like, he's trying to stay not too high, not too low, because he knows how quickly the game can humble you. There's been a couple of seasons where, 2016, I think he had 16 homers at the break, hitting 304. 2018, he was hitting 301 with 55 RBIs, 18 homers or 17 homers or 15, something like that. Just really good seasons. Obviously, there's a ton of good players in the American League, and I think he was at third base for one of them. So he was fighting with Beltre and whatnot, and just years where he kind of got his hopes up, thinking that this is the year, and then when it doesn't happen, I think that this year he just kind of tuned it all out, and he's just not really letting himself get affected by it. But I know how Nick is, man. I mean, he's so excited. I mean, even if he doesn't know how to express it, I mean, if he did know how to express it, he probably would have cried there on the interview. I've seen him cry on live TV and radio. He did it in Chicago, just answering a question about something that Joe Madden said about him. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's actually pretty good, but he started crying there on air, and then he had to gather himself, and he was just like, "This is why I don't do live video, man."
I love his interviews because they're always just so like, he's just like, no, like that's just the way that I think Jim Day asks him like every time that he hits a home run, he's always like, was that the pitch you were looking for? And he's just like, I was just I'm just trying to get the ball in play.
I feel so bad for Jim Day, man, when Nick interviews with him. I feel like he just gives him the cold shoulder, man.
Well, the interview that he did that is on your shirt right now, is like,
we're not allowed to talk about this, okay?
The best, like the best.
I wanted to buy that shirt so bad, but I knew if I did, something would happen, so I didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that, my initial reaction was, like, because I was afraid. I was, oh my God, you just said that. But then I kind of felt bad for, Bally Sports. I kind of felt bad. I didn't want any of them to kind of get in trouble. And then I started thinking about it more. A day went by. There wasn't too much coverage about it. And then I'm thinking, why the hell would they do anything about it? Because that would just bring light to the situation. If they suspended him or did anything about it, everybody would have to be like, oh, well, why did they suspend him again? And then they'd have to see what had happened. And I mean, obviously Nick kind of did some crazy loophole where he got the fan to say it. I mean, you could see that he wanted the fan to say it.
Well, he's like, can I give him the headset? And like with the COVID stuff that they've got, like all the protocols and all that stuff, he's like, can I just give him the headset? Can he be on there? I was like, this is
just be honest, and just hands him the headset. It's awesome.
So you brought it up. I mean, you had the suspension early on. You had the poster on the stadium that has to get covered. I mean, there's been some weird things going on.
That over there?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh wait, they're both variants of that one. I don't know if you can see this one.
Oh yeah.
This is that's an oil painting canvas of Nick over Woodford 3/4 sleeve.
That's fantastic.
Are those all Cincy shirts?
I think so. I think one of them is actually not one of them I have here, but I have one that says every day is opening day, and then I have another one that says Nick Castellanos is good at baseball.
I've seen that one.
Those are obvious shirts, which I believe is a Chicago Cubs thing, and they will specifically make Nick shirts in red and then send it out to our family.
Nice.
Really, that's awesome.
Those. Yeah, I'm telling you, Chicago loves Nick. Like loves Nick.
Getting back to my question though, like, do you think Manfred has it out for this team because of the way that everything happened game 2?
Oh, I mean, possibly, but just the stuff that he does really makes you kind of question it a little bit.
Sure.
Because let's talk about what they suspended Nick for. They suspended him for aggressive actions that caused a bench clearing incident and broke COVID protocols, right? So
He's up again, by the way.
Oh goodness.
We're also up 5-0, no outs. Counts 1-0. I didn't want you to miss it though.
I think he's got like a 380 average on when he's ahead of the count, so this might be pretty good. But yeah, so his he got suspended for aggressive actions and breaking, safety protocol and everything, and in that same scenario, you have Molina grabbing his neck. You got plenty of people on the other team charging at him, basically wanting to fight, all while Nick's trying to leave.
Arms behind his back.
Right. So, and even if you were to take that and say, okay, you're going to suspend him for that, we're going to count what Nick did as aggressive actions and suspend him for that. Fine. But then, 3 weeks later, you have the Cubs visiting the Reds, and how in the world is Javi Baez, who is not even a part of the play, hopping up over the railings, sprinting onto the field to play, literally asking to fight Amir Garrett? How is that not aggressive actions that could possibly cause the benches to clear?
Well, and then Garrett gets suspended.
Yeah, he did get suspended. And people will say, well, oh, he got suspended because they're taking, his prior history into account. I think his suspension was kind of, should he have got suspended? Maybe. Was I okay with what he did on the mound? I mean, kind of, yeah, because I kind of feel him, man. Like he was having kind of like a rough season, and he's got some history with those guys, and he went out and struck him out, and yeah, he was kind of being a little extra and yelling, but you could see that was like his passion of kind of feeling like he was back, right?
Right.
If you want to suspend him, because something happened after that, fine. But how do you not suspend Javi Baez?
Well, and I think it was, I'm almost positive it was you tweeted out a very similar situation right after Nick's incident at the beginning of the season. There was an incident with the Cubs that was
Dodgers too, I think.
That was very similar, like in the first week of the season.
Contreras getting hit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so Contreras gets hit. He's basically half charging the mound or whatever, and the bench is clear. Basically, aggressive actions causing, and I'm not sitting here saying that Contreras should get suspended, but I'm just saying that if you suspend Nick, you're creating a precedent, and if you don't follow that precedent, you're gonna have the town of, the city of Cincinnati think that Manfred's, a jackass who has it out for him. But,
not saying that he is a jackass or that we think that, but that would elude one to think as such.
I was saying that it would give the city the assumption that there's a possibility he has it out for him.
He was exhibiting, things that would make one think that he was a jackass.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I'm sure Manfred is just, just the name that we all like to, just kind of.
Aaron, you're not on mute.
No,
I can't.
Aaron's internet froze. This is a commonplace thing that happens.
No, that's okay. Was little vape? Is that what happened? Okay.
Yeah. He muted his
wait.
audio.
When you initially tweeted that out, like that first week, it was like, yeah, there were some Cubs fans coming for you in the mentions. Like,
that's okay.
Like, what are you doing?
Right. That's okay. I mean, I'm not loyal. I respect the Cubs fans. I think that they're a very, passionate, loyal fan base.
They are.
Sometimes passionate to a fault. But I was just talking about consistency, because when I saw them suspend Nick for that, I'm like, okay, well, if that's how they're going to do it, we're going to follow up on that. And then you see all these different scenarios of people being way more aggressive than Nick. And even in Nick's situation, you could say, oh, he shouldn't have gotten in his face, but let's take it back. He got hit after hitting a home run. He did not, he could have gotten hit and did what Contreras did and wanted to go over to the mound. He didn't do that. He played a little fun with him, offered the ball back. It's probably something I would have done. I think that's pretty freaking hilarious. And then when Nick had talked about it, after, he was saying, okay, well, now all I want to do is score and raise that pitcher's ERA for hitting me. So he got hit and he was upset about it. But instead of saying, I'm going to, try to cause a fight, he was trying to play the game harder because he was upset about it. Isn't that what you want? Like you
Right.
want them to be like, I want to play the game harder now. So then you had a bang play. He dives headfirst into home, which he never does. He gets a knee in the back and he was safe by, half a frame. And he comes up, says, let's go, and walks away. And then he gets suspended for it. And if you want to call that aggressive action, it's fine. But what the hell are you calling, Baez hopping over the railing and going to literally say, I'm going to fight somebody? Is that what you want in the game? I think what Nick did, you would want more of that in the game. I don't know if you want what Javi did in the game.
I mean, let's be honest, it probably wouldn't have even necessarily blown up the way it did. But when Nick dove in, and then the pitcher ends up on the ground underneath him, and they're like, oh, look at him, he's like, put it in his face. Well, he should put it in his face. He wears 98 in the ribs,
yeah.
And then he gets all the way around on a hustle play.
Ryan he doesn't throw 98. Don't give him that much credit.
All right. So maybe 94.
I think it was 93, but let's just say 94.
All right. So he takes in the ribs, but he dives in. He does what he's come to be known for, at least here, is going 110% at any chance he gets. Gets into the plate and then takes a knee in the exact same spot that he just took the pitch.
I mean, and the knee was completely incidental. I mean, I'm not
Absolutely.
saying the knee,
Absolutely.
but we're emphasizing that this is a hard-nosed bang play, and what Nick did it wasn't out of kind of I dislike you as a person. It was kind of I saw how you guys gamesmanshiped me, and I pushed it back in you, and that's really what it should be all about, because that kind of passion that will grow the game 100%.
It's nothing that you wouldn't have seen. Nothing that you wouldn't have seen in the NBA, the NFL, maybe soccer. I don't watch it too much, but I mean, nothing.
He might have got a tech in basketball. He might have got a.
Well, that'd be fair, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, would the benches have cleared if Molina didn't go for his neck? I don't know. Maybe not. But they suspended him as if it was clear. Nick didn't grab anybody. Nick had his neck grabbed. Was calmly talking at the end. Just
our history of Molina probably would have happened.
Yeah, we hate St. Louis.
I've come to learn that, and I play around with that. You guys see me poke fun with the St. Louis fans all the time.
They don't dislike St. Louis more than I think really what it comes down to with Cubs fans is there are a lot of fair weather Cubs fans in Cincinnati that like to put on their blue shirts and show up at Great American Ballpark that aren't real Cubs fans. And those are the ones that are irritating.
Yep.
So did Nick
That's not
actually
cool, man.
did Nick actually get the ball that has Manfred's face on it that I saw on Twitter?
I don't know. I mean, I saw the ball that you're talking about, but he didn't mention that to me or show me. But I do see that people are bringing in balls with Manfred's face. I had somebody DM me a picture of a sign that he made where it was a picture of Rob Manfred and it said "hit it here," and it had a big clown nose right on his nose, and and he's like, "You think I'll get in with this?" And I'm just like, you do you, man. I mean, I doubt the person working, at the little ticketing gate knows who Rob Manfred is, but obviously, that's he's a very powerful person, and that's somebody who, even though there's a lot of things that you dislike about him, you really do have to be careful about, how you go about it and whatnot.
Absolutely.
And that's why, shirts like this are awesome, because I somewhat have to be careful about what I say, but I'm not a player, so I could really say whatever I want, and it's not really, it's not really a secret that, the majority of fans aren't really kind of happy with what's going on with baseball right now, with, just the inconsistencies with the suspensions and the fact that they have to change the ball every season. And now we don't know who's cheating, and, they're kind of okay with the cheating, I guess. And then now all these players who signed huge contracts, got it because of construction grade material. And we just want a fair playing field where we can enjoy passion, where we can enjoy,
absolutely.
we can just kind of enjoy the game. I feel like sometimes there's just different aspects of that kind of get in the way, of just kind of what you're supposed to be enjoying.
So what are you wanting to see happen from the Reds as we're at about the halfway point? Got the All-Star break coming up here not too long, and they're still in contention, obviously over 500 this far into the season for the first time in quite some time, coming off a COVID year that was depressing for everyone.
Right.
So we made a late push last year. So what do you expect to see? What do you want to see out of this Reds team going forward the rest of the season?
Honestly, I expect them to compete and win. I expect them to win more games than they lose. I mean, everybody's going to go through their share of injuries and whatnot, but you could argue that the Reds are in this position right now and they haven't been whole all season. So, that they have guys who are stepping up and they have rookies who are contributing, and that's really what you want. You have leadership from the players that you need, the guys who are getting paid the money. They're the leaders on the team. They're setting the tone on the team. You got, really good veteran started pitching. You got good young started pitching, and you got up and coming pieces in the pen. So, and it's not it is a competitive, central, but, no team should be, running away with that. Obviously the Brewers are, they have a very good pitching staff and they have a very solid team. The Cubs are in a downspin right now. And, the Reds are really, they were in this position 2 weeks ago, and then they kind of, did a little slip in San Diego and whatnot, and they're right back in it. And, you could look at that as they're resilient. They're good enough that even when they have their bad stretches, they're going to come out and play and compete and to the end of the game, like you see. And if they keep that up, the wins and loss record will take care of itself in the end. I mean, to maybe, maybe you guys, might be conditioned that this team is going to fall apart at the end. That's maybe what you guys might be conditioned to be feeling, but look at the offensive numbers. I mean, what's their batting average in the National League? Top 3?
At least.
Yes.
Their OPS is top 3. I mean, I think their starting pitching ERA in June was really good. I think
they're top. They're up to I think they're the number 7 bullpen right now since the start of June.
And Antone had to have been healthy and available for what, less than half of that?
Yeah. Not even. And then Sims has been gone too. So you got guys who were, struggling to say the least, that have really picked up the slack out there in the bullpen. I think they've thrown some silly number of innings now without giving up a run out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean,
which is
give up home run.
Which is good.
Yeah,
That's
I just
okay.
saw that. You as a Reds fan, and I'm becoming a Reds fan myself, because I do, like, I'm starting to love all you guys here in Cincinnati. You guys are all great. And just just the passion of the fan base and the energy of the stadium, like you were saying before, that's really what it's all about. And the team on the field. John Sadek says it all the time that they're just really exciting. Even when they lose, it's exciting because you feel like they can win at any moment because they have that kind of firepower to get it done. Not just on the offensive side, but Castillo can go out there and throw a gem, which it looks like he's kind of doing right now. At any time. Sonny Gray could go out there and do that at any time. That Antone can come out and shut down the door. Sims can, and now Art Warren is freaking dealing. Brad Brock's been pretty good, lately.
Heath Hembry.
Hembry's been good, and he's a journeyman who, is playing some of his best ball right now. And then I think they're bringing Santion back to AAA and trying to help him maybe get into the bullpen for some role there.
Yes.
And then you got Michael Lorenzen's going to be. They're saying they could be activating him for the Brewers series coming up, and
just a scoreless inning.
And Lorenzen, I met him a number of years ago. He was playing in the Reds minor leagues, and he was playing for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos against Chattanooga, and I got a brother-in-law that lives down there, so we were down there watching that. And literally, at the time, I knew of him as a pitcher. I didn't know of his prowess with the bat at the time, and they used him as a pinch hitter, and he hit a rocket shot out into left center, and I'm like, he comes around, he's like, I told you I could hit, because when he was in the on deck circle, I was we were sitting right down on the thing, and I'm like, I thought you were a pitcher. He's like, man, I can swing this thing a little bit.
He strikes me as, I've never met him, but obviously he's a crazy athlete. He strikes me as the guy that can do a little bit of everything, whether it's playing the field. Obviously he can play the field, pitch, and hit, but he could probably also put up some crazy PR, in the gym, and he could probably go out there and run a 200 meter if he wanted, and he could probably go out there and play free safety if he wanted. Just a crazy athlete. And us pitchers usually aren't defined as that. We're just kind of, everybody gets excited if we do our PFPs correctly. So it's cool that he's repping that banner for us. Pitchers are athletes too.
Chicks dig the long ball though.
Yeah, but my girl likes when I give them up.
So here's a question: have you ever faced your brother?
Mm-hmm.
How did it turn out?
It was he was 2 years older than me.
Okay.
And he always played basically at a level above. So I never had a full season where I was playing on his team. But in high school, we had a stacked high school down in Fort Lauderdale area, Archbishop McCarthy. So I wasn't really around the varsity team until, end of my sophomore year, into my junior year. And my sophomore year was Nick's senior year. So I did get to pitch to him live in a practice. I knew that I had to just go up there with the mindset that I throw cheese and he's not going to hit it. So I started his at bat with 2 painted fastballs on the inside corner that he took. He didn't swing at him. He probably wasn't expecting that, and had him on 0-2. And then I started thinking, which was a bad thing. Started thinking, okay, well, he just saw, he's probably got timing on my fastball. Let me just get something in the dirt or something, I flipped a cookie curveball that didn't do anything, and he put it off the wall. So he didn't hit a home run, but he put it off the wall, and he got thrown out trying to extend it to a triple. So I did my job.
Fair enough.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It does look like you have a question from Jody Price. How hopeful is everyone about the stretch against the Brewers before and after the All-Star break?
We'll have to see. As far, that's what you want. You want to play the guys who you need to beat, as much as you can. You want to have those, those in-division games. So you should be very hopeful because, we just showed that, when we come up and play our game, the Brewers aren't a team that, we can't beat. So if we can go up and put a good showing, we're playing well right now. We can go out and, win a series and keep that going to the end of the All-Star break. I think we play the Brewers again after that.
We do 7 games in a row with the All-Star break in the middle.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that's huge. That could make or break the entire season right there.
Yeah, you should be, as a fan, you should be happy that that's what's going on, because it gives you a chance to, see your team, that you love competing in a game that really means more than the others. I mean, everybody says that, every game, is just as important as the next one, and that technically is true. But when you're there competing with the other team that's, trying to show everybody that they're the dog of the division, it really, really, really is important for the team morale to go out there and put a good, showing and win some games. So, as far as if you should feel hopeful, if they go out there and they show the Brewers, kind of that they're here to play, you strap up for a fun season, I think.
Well, before we let you go, we've been doing this for about an hour, but I don't want to let you leave without some type of story about growing up with Nick Castellanos as your brother, and whether it be, I don't know, I'm sure you got something in your arsenal where I don't know how bad you want to embarrass him or how much you want to make us laugh, but I feel like there's got to be a good story.
I'll say this because I've put this on Twitter before, so I shouldn't embarrass him too much. But I mean, like right around his senior year of high school, he was one of the top prospects in the country. It wasn't really about where he was, if he was getting drafted. It was kind of where and when and for how much, basically, was kind of how it was. So in his in his last couple, month or two at school, as senior year, friends would tell me that he would just be sitting in class, just kind of not really paying attention, ripping up his book, saying like, just kind of forget about this right now. It's just there's a quote that I put out where my mom was kind of yelling at him or something, and I don't know, something about like studying this, studying that, and me and Nick aren't unintelligent people, so we did get like good grades and whatnot, but you could just tell his focus wasn't there, and he was kind of blowing off the last couple of his assignments, and then he would be like, why should I have to do why should I have to do homework if I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player? So, but he was right. He's a philosopher in his own right, I guess. See the future.
And who would have thought he'd be a Major League Baseball player in 2021 carrying around a flip phone?
I mean, yeah.
You guys bust him up about that a little bit?
I can't get a hold of him.
Reception's not very good there at GAB.
That's awesome.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, Ryan, we do thank you for your time.
Aaron, just 2 things real quick. I did find a company that will make life-size bobbleheads for you. Lifesizebobblehead.com. Looks like they're out of Illinois, so you can get on
in
that.
Illinois, huh?
Yeah, there you go. Also, what's your thoughts on Skyline Chili?
Ooh.
I've never had it.
Oh, all right.
That's is that the thing where everybody gets something free with 11 strikeouts?
No,
that's La Rosa's Pizza.
Okay.
But if
wait, it's like hot dogs, Skyline Chili, like hot dogs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean cheese conies, and then the spaghetti with the chili and cheese on top.
I haven't had dinner yet, man. Don't be talking to me about this. I love like chili dogs, obviously like Chicago dogs, but I've heard people say that the Skyline Chili dog, is right up there. So I haven't had it yet. Maybe I was a little too distracted with all the free
shots.
all the Advil they would give me when they saw me. But I'll be back. I mean, I'm going to be going to the All-Star game, which is going to be sweet. It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Have you been to an All-Star game yet?
2012. I was there. It was in Kansas City. Nick was in the Futures game there.
Okay.
And he won MVP there. So that was an awesome, trip. Got to see the home run derby. Prince Fielder won that. And then I got to see the All-Star game. And I think the only thing I remember from the All-Star game was what I might be misremembering, but was Bryce Harper in that All-Star game in 2012, or was he not up there yet?
I don't know. I feel like Bryce Harper's been around forever, and he's still only like 22 years old.
Yeah, I think I remember him camping under a fly ball, and
He was a rookie that year, so he probably was there.
Yeah, I think they stuck him out and left. They moved him over from catcher or something. I remember him camping under a fly ball, and then him losing it, and then it ended up dropping just about 20 feet in front of him. And I don't know why that stuck with me, but that's what I remember because Nick wasn't in that game, so I was just kind of there, just enjoying the moment and whatnot. I think Verlander might have started that game and gave up 5 runs, maybe in the first inning, I think.
I don't remember. I went to the All-Star game when it was here in Cincinnati because we were able to get tickets by being season ticket holders or whatever. But I let my parents have the tickets to go to like the Futures game and then all that kind of stuff. And then I went with my wife to the Home Run Derby, and that's what I remember mostly because Todd Frazier won. And then like the next day we went to the All-Star game and it was cool, but like I couldn't really tell you much about what happened at the All-Star game that year.
Yeah, I mean the game. I mean, it kind of matters because I guess you get home field advantage and whatnot, but I mean, it's more about just like the fan experience and just
right,
kinda,
absolutely.
Being there. It's a spectacle. Anything that happens there is just extra. If you strike out 3 times, nobody cares. If you hit a double, everybody thinks it's sweet. If you hit a home
but at
run,
least they still play the game the same way they like. You know what I mean? Like it's still played like when you're looking at like the the NFL. That's the Pro Bowl's kind of silly, and like the NBA All-Star game is like how many alley-oops can we throw up? Yeah. So yeah. I do appreciate the fact that the All-Star game in baseball is like still like played the same way that they play during the season.
Yeah, but the Pro Bowl game being kind of a letdown is made up for the fact that every Sunday is amazing during football season.
Yeah.
Every game is amazing. I mean, I go to as many Dolphins. I used to be season ticket holder for the Miami Dolphins. We still try to go to 5 or 6 out of the 8 home games, which is still a lot. And it's even when they lose. I mean, I'm such a diehard Dolphins fan that my buddies that go with me, they're basically like, all right, like we're gonna sit next to Ryan and he's gonna be going absolutely, just crazy the entire time and yelling at Tannehill for being average and and telling Joe Philbin to get off the sideline. And
I'm glad to hear that Twitter Ryan Castellanos is also real life Ryan Castellanos.
I mean, just keep it real, man. It's a lot of effort to try to be someone else,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the only thing you should ever think about is just, hey, what you're doing is going out on the internet, so just try not to be stupid. But, just say your mind, try to be funny, try to have fun. I mean, people are there. Most of the people following me are there just to talk baseball, have fun, just fan involvement. Just, I feel like the more I interact with them, the more they get to know me, maybe the more they like the team, maybe the more they're Nick fans, maybe they'll go to a game or two, just anything to kind of get that vibe going of we're here to win. Let's go to the games. Let's pack the games. Let's cheer on this team. Let's get a ring, like I want, like, that's just, it's so fun when that's what everybody wants. When you have fans saying, sell this, do that, change this, change ownership, fire David Bell, do all this. It's kind of like, taking the fun out of it. It's just, that's all part of it. I mean, it's up to the players to put them in that position, but I think the Reds have done a pretty good job up to this point, and they're winning right now. So what is that? If we were to close this out, 6 in a row?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
and the Brewers and Mets game was postponed tonight, so we can grab a half game.
What are we, 4 back in the loss or 3 back in the loss?
I don't know.
We are currently 5 back in the loss.
Yeah, 5. So we'd be 4.5 with
And
7 coming up against them.
Oof.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge.
And we're currently 4.5 out of the wild card, which
we're going for the division, man.
I know.
The West is the West is good.
Is wild.
And I mean the wild card teams may end up with a better record than the Central Division champion, possibly. But you should want to go for the division because those are the teams that they're basically your siblings. Like you're like, I'm here to beat you and be better than you. And then, it's not fun to go to the playoffs. It's still fun to go to the playoffs, but it's not fun to go knowing that there was another person in your division who got that crown, It's kind of something to work for.
You also don't want that one game play in as opposed to like an actual whole series. So I'm with you. Get the division and get the hell out of there.
Yeah,
well, they are the Great American Park Ballers, according to Ryan, and you can find him on Twitter at Ryan_cast_. Dude, we thank you for your time. This was a fantastic show. We really enjoyed having you on, even with my technical errors here with the camera issues and then thinking I was on mute.
So who I just picked up was that one right there.
I was gonna say it looks like in the painting.
Yeah,
painting.
My girlfriend bought these. Okay, I did.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
yeah, they're medieval paintings of our dogs. And I got some Zelda. You guys know Zelda?
Yeah.
Video game. I got some Zelda stuff there. Grew up playing that. Absolutely love that. Got some games back there. I play a lot with my nephew, covering it, and then just had to put some Cincy stuff up. Rep the city.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we love it.
That's awesome.
Did it just for you guys.
It's appreciated.
We appreciate it.
Of course.
Well, give Nick all of our love. We obviously with him in season and everything. I don't know when the next time is that you're going to talk to him. If he has reception on his flip phone.
He can't talk to me as a flip phone.
You may have to send him a telegram.
We can't even tweet at him, so maybe we'll just have to send him some snail mail.
Well, because when you text him, it goes green, and then it doesn't come up as like a conversation. It comes up as individual little things.
Yeah.
So I'll text him kind of like an in-depth thing of what I saw, kind of like this pitch, or I saw you do this and this and that, and then he'll respond with yes or I agree or nice.
Win.
Yeah.
Win.
And I'm just like, all right, dude, I'll call you later, man.
Well, you are welcome back anytime. We do appreciate it. If they do end up making the run that we want them to make, we'd love to have you back on to talk. As we progress and get closer to that playoff dream that we all have right now. So let's make it a reality. But for everyone, that was Pardon the Punctuation with Ryan Castellanos. For Ed, for Jeff, I am Aaron, and we're out.
Bye.